Hey guys, I've been super inspired to be making sample and beats recently. So today I wanted to show you guys how you can make some more ambient guitar beats completely from scratch in FL Studio. So let's go. So here we are in FL Studio and I just made this guitar sample right here. So it really has this ambient and emotional vibe to it, and I actually really like the way it turned out. So before we put some drums over it, I want to show you guys how you can recreate the sample. Pretty much just go through all the steps that I did. So to start off with, we have the guitar right here. So if you have this drama toolkit from Spitfire in Contact, it's actually this C1 guitar right here. I was just using this Frozen preset right here. It pretty much just gives it a bit more reverb and makes the guitar ambient as well. As for the pattern, it's actually way more simpler to make than it looks like. So I'm firstly just going to delete this and pretty much show you guys how you can make something similar. So the scale I was working in was F sharp minor, and I pretty much just made a regular F sharp minor chord like this. Now you just want to extend the notes and just strum this A out like this. Now I usually invert this middle note up by 1 octave, but for this sample, I actually pitched up the highest note by 1 octave. So I took this C sharp up like this, and then I pretty much wanted to use these half steps right here. So I just copied this over here and cut it up here as well. But when you have them down here, it's going to sound super muddy. So I just pitched these up by 1 octave as well. Then we can pretty much play around with the notes. But since we already have this F sharp down here, I'm just going to use this F sharp again, but this time 1 octave above the one we have already. Then we can actually just use the same notes again. So we can just use the C sharp we're using here, just put it down here 1 octave lower, and then the F sharp again. Let's see how this sounds. Now I'm just going to cut this upper note right here. Then we can just copy this over and pitch it down by 5 semitones. Adjust this note so it has a nice contrast between these two right here. Now again, you want to copy this over, but to have a little bit of a nice switch up on the second part, I'm going to go to this magnet tool right here and pick third beat. Then you want to go to the half step right here, and then we want to make a triplet that goes downwards towards this chord right here. So I'm just going to start it on this A, paste it over twice so we have a triplet right here, and then just lower each note in the scale. Now we have a nice transition towards this part. So that's pretty much how you can make something very similar to the guitar I made. Now I'm just going to delete this and paste my original pattern back. Now for the effects, I actually just added this echo boy from Effect Track, just some tape saturation using this tape machine right here. Then I had this slime preset in Portal, and I actually lowered the mix all the way to about 16% right here. Lastly, just some EQ to manipulate the sound how I wanted it. So now when we have the effects on, the guitar sounds like this. The effects pretty much just make the guitar even more ambient. Next up, I just added this Scarby bass from Contact. Super simple pattern, and just following the root notes of the guitar. The key is pretty much to keep the pattern very simple, and it's also nice to have some of these stops right here just to make the bass a bit more realistic. So you can add some more groove on this second part and keep it a bit more simple on this first part. Now for the effects on the bass, I pretty much only have this high cut right here. Together with the guitar, the bass sounds like this. The next sound I added was this vocal from Arcade. It just sounds like this. Although I liked how the vocal sounded, I definitely needed to make it more ambient so it would fit with the guitar. So I again started off with an echo boy just to give it some delay. I'm just using this rock vocal preset. Then I added this vintage verb right here, mixed at about 34%. And lastly, I just added this jungle texture from my No Limit drum kit. Then I just rendered out the sample, and this is pretty much how it turned out. Now let's put some drums over that. As for the drums I'm using in this video, they're all coming from my No Limit drum kit. So if you want to use the same sounds as me, just go check out the first link down below. I'm going to start off with this go-to clap. Then since the sample is so ambient, I want to keep the hi-hats a bit simple. So I'm going to use this famous hi-hat right here. And then I can actually use one of my midis from my drum kit. So I can try to drag in this on one MIDI right here and see how it sounds. Literally fits perfectly. Let's try to add one more here. It's very subtle, but it definitely adds some bounce. Now let's go in with the 808. I'm going to use this radio one right here. I like this roll right here. Just add a kick to that too. Make it hit even harder. For the arrangement of the beat, I pretty much always stem out all my sounds at the end of the sample. So if you guys haven't checked out my free sample packs, you can also check them on my website. It's BBMarko.com. It's of course linked down below. So if you go check out some of the samples over there, you'll see I'll always have these stems at the end right here. So that makes it way easier to structure out the sample. So in the intro, I'm just gonna have all the parts from the sample playing. Then of course when the 808 comes in, I want to leave out the bass. And we can also leave out the vocal for the first part of the hook. Then we have the vocal come in on the second part. They'll drop off right here. Just the guitar and the texture playing. Then we bring back the kick and put the vocal in again. Just a bridge right here. Put the bass back in.